the beautification committee with Tracy and Cindy and Tammy and Lisa for planning all these beautiful things that we've added around the hospital. And this is a special occasion today to honor Dr. Cahn with the Peace Garden. Dr. Cahn and I go back pretty long ways. You know, I was just thinking the other day, I went to the DMV and they said, well, you're the same height, your eyes are the same color, so we got to change your hair color. So if you haven't experienced that yet,
I'm not the same height.
Did they put NA on yours? We were back in the 70s when the hippies were famous. That tells you how old we are. We began work in this county about at the same time, not too many years difference. We were in the old JC group for a while, had a little softball team, had a lot of enjoyment out of that. As I remember Dr. Cahn, he has always been a country physician. I remember when our kids were young, I taught his kids in school, and he doctored my kids. And no matter what time of day it was, if I needed to call, I just called the number, and he answered the phone. But now, you call the number, you get a menu of things to do, and you get tremendous wait time, and you never really talk to anybody. So that's the difference between now and then.
That's progress.
He has been on all fronts of this hospital throughout. He's been medical director, he's been chief of staff, he's been emergency room, he's done, he and I were on the district mental health board for several years and did a lot of traveling on that. I just remember him as being a committed physician. He's one of those guys that would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go to the hospital, do the rounds, go back to practice, work all day, and then a lot of times was full duty at night. And you don't get that level of commitment anymore from physicians because everybody wants to work from 9 to 5 and then they want to go home and relax. I guess that's fine, but it's not the way it used to be. Just recently we had a situation with our emergency room where it was not staffed. They called across the street and guess who came over to fill the shoes? Cahn. He's always been there for us, and this little plaque here is 38 years of service to the citizens of Alleghany County. And that's amazing. Beat me by 7. But thanks a lot. Thank you. Yeah.
We got a bedside.
You want to go on this side, we can back it.
It's a poor politician. We got it. I'm ready. Yep. It won't cut.
Get the little ones.
If they're like my scissors, they don't cut. Oh, a souvenir.
I can tie it.
If you have anybody coming to your practice, stand back, check to see if the stone's still there.
Okay. I think this is good that we're all standing up because then I have to be real short. First of all, I want to tell you that this is the biggest direction I've seen in years. I very much appreciate it because I know how much planning and work and expense went into it. And I'm really very thankful that it's outdoors because my aptitude test in high school said I should have been a forest ranger. My mother wanted me to be a doctor, so the out of doors is very appropriate for me, and I'm sort of thrilled that I'm not just going to be a plaque on the wall. It's a wonderful thing, a wonderful idea, and it was kind of stuck up. Not only today, I didn't know I was coming here today, but this was, and what a wonderful surprise. So, you know, as Warren said, I've been on just about every committee at the hospital. That's, you know, I've always thought of myself as being part of a team. I don't think that docs are, you know, anything particularly special. People do tend to put us up on a pedestal. I think that's a bad and dangerous thing. It's bad for the patients and it's bad for us because we can't stay on pedestals because we're here. And eventually we come off that pedestal. And that can be ugly. You know, if you believe in the pedestal, you stay up there. Yeah, look at me. So you're going to fall. You know, so I always have thought of myself as being one of the team, and I hope that all of you who have worked with me, you all have, understand that and believe that. I think that's the way we should be. I think that my patients' time is just as valuable as mine. I think that their lives are just as valid and significant as mine is. I've always tried to respect all my patients and all my coworkers. Bob Dylan said, I'm just plain and common too. I'm just like him and the same as you. I'm everybody's brother and son. I ain't different from anyone. So ain't no sense talking to me. Be just like talking to you. So I think that's really good. So I hope the other thing that I'll tell today, because I have learned all my life, the lesson I hope I've learned recently is to do the right thing. I think that that's probably the most important lesson that I've learned in my life. If you do the right thing, it keeps apologies down to a minimum. It may be a little harder or rough to begin with, but that's where you want to end up. That's what I really would like to be remembered for, is a person who always tried to do the right thing. Let's see what else we can say while your feet are still hurting. I didn't want to practice for 40 years. This is accurate with regard to my retirement from the hospital board and from the active medical staff was 38 years. And as Warren said, we were it back in the day. Everything was very different. The nurses worked on the floor in the emergency room and they emptied the trash. And it's just there was very limited staff. Billing was not the issue that it is today. When we opened our office, we didn't have a single contract with a single insurance company, nor Medicare, nor Medicaid. We simply had a bill that we gave to the patient, and they sent that on to whatever that third party was, and they got paid 100% for whatever it was. Everybody seemed to be pretty happy with that. And then insurance companies, they having to survive and make a profit, and they got smarter and started having contracts and whatnot. And so now we have a contract with Medicare and a contract with Medicaid, taking care of about 80% of our patients. And then the other, then we have about 10% of people that are smart enough not to bring insurance. We have 10% of our practice, about 30 or 40 insurance companies, and that 10%. Maybe 40, maybe more than that? More than that, maybe, yeah. So, I mean, a huge headache now, and large staff on there just to take care of the state. So, you know, we were talking lunchtime today about back in the day, how we took care of things on refills and whatnot before we got electronic. Before we got that big long menu, you know, we called up because you don't really want to talk to me anymore when you call up because I wasn't the problem. It was either a refill or it was the wrong bill or it was, you know, so I can't help you with that. So, yeah, but it's terrible. It's terrible. It's nice to have somebody who, you know, answer the phone and you know what to do. So things have changed. Things have changed here very much also. And I guess that's how you know you're alive, is that nothing stays the same. And we just try to bend with the flow. That's why John Miller's still mayor. He knows how to bend.
And he would like to say, Jack, it's been such a pleasure working.
Yeah, you and I, I'm sure you recruited me. I think you were my original boss. And,
Actually, Jack, I thought you were riding through Sparta on your way to an interstate, go to a large metropolitan hospital, and you ran into his fence.
that's how and then they made a movie about me. I think that's how
Not Sparta or something.
I came in the National Service Corps. I was a government doctor. We were talking about, Patty and I were talking about that the other day. I was what they call the Yellow Berets. We took a draft deferment so that we could, and in exchange we worked in the public health service, a branch called the National Service Corps. And what they did was assign doctors to rural areas where they couldn't get doctors to work otherwise. And the government paid my salary, and we collected money from some folks. And when we did, it went to our sponsor, which was the hospital. And then the government asked the hospital for the money back. There was a little triangle going on there. And it worked well for everybody because I got to come into a practice where I didn't have to worry about income. The community got a doctor that really cost them less than it would have otherwise. And the government actually got money back while they were serving America. I mean, it's just an incredible thing. So, of course, after a few years, they got rid of it. But I was here in the Corps. Dr. Tom Townsend was here in the Corps. And Dr. Beth, when you joined the practice, you joined privately. You were the first private person to work there. So we went through Robin Lyon, and then we went through Terry Robertson. And then I finally gave it up. I said I wasn't going to ramble. I'm finished talking. I just want to thank all of you for being my friends. I assume if you hate me, you didn't show up today. So for being my friends over the years. There's no place like Sparta. They're the most wonderful folks in the world. Hardworking, and you can trust them, and they are really your friends. So that's been my privilege. I want to thank you all very much for that. I want to thank you for this beautiful thing, which when my folks are in here, I'm going to come out here and sit. It's facing south. Facing south. So thank you all very much.
But thank you very much for, when I came here, you were the main man. I appreciate everything you did for us.
Thank you.
Folks, Tracy Bottomley, I think, should get some award here too, because he's the brainchild behind a lot of these beautification projects that we've got going now.
Hey, well, we had
Get a whole lot of time on
good
it.
help.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. Well, is anybody else on the podium?
I'd like to say something.
Okay. We're still standing.
I was here when Dr. Cahn first came here, and he brought his little children, And we both had long dark hair at that time. And he has been a blessing for this community.
Except Lois hasn't aged.
Well, I'll say this, and then I won't say anything else. I was here 10 years when you came, and it took me a long time to get you trained. And I'm still working on it.
So you were just as open to change then as you are now, right, Linda?
He's changing the rules.
That's not her vocabulary.
No, Dr. Cahn always got me up a lot in the middle of the night, but, well, that was just the way it was. But back then, you know, that's what you did. And he never failed to come through and help whenever he could and do whatever we needed done. He was there. And I count you as my friend. And it's been
Coming for you, that is wrong.
Well, I'd have to say you're a fireman, Jack. We were playing volleyball. I was playing Woodruff. And the first game we just beat the tar out of him. Then Jack slacked off so he could win the next game. That proves that he's a fireman. I got on to him about it a little, not playing too hard. He said, well, we'll just beat the tar out of him. What? Which I did, really.
Everybody turns it off when, turns the TV off when one team gets too far ahead. Not very interested anymore.
Not me, I like to see my side. If my side wins.
Well, I moved here in 1985 and couldn't get a job because I lived across Jane Taylor Mountain. And Miss McKnight asked me, how are you going to get here in the wintertime? And I said, drive. And she looked at me like I was nuts. And I didn't realize I was from Florida, and snow and ice didn't mean anything to me. I just thought it was wind. But one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my whole life was meeting him. I didn't like him at all when I first met him. I could not stand him. And he would walk wide berths around me because he thought I was the meanest bitch. And I don't know how it happened, but we ended up falling in love, truly. And we've been together now, we figured it out the other night, 28 years. 28 years. And when I worked here as a nurse, the one thing that I can say about Dr. Cahn, and I always called him Dr. Cahn when I was on the floor, was he was truly a nurse advocate. He always, always, always stood behind the nurses. And that meant a great deal to everyone that ever worked the floor and worked with him. Because that's just something that doesn't come natural.
Sharon trained him well.
Yes. So,
Thank you.
Thank
Can't run
you.
a hospital without nurses, so I know that. I know which side my bread is buttered on. Well, thank you all once again. Y'all are marvelous. My privilege.
Thanks, guys. This has been really special. Thank you.